Ghana makes significant strides with its engagement with multilateral partners to support Ghana's quest for a financial bailout. Now, the latest update from the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, suggests that we are making some great progress. Now, according to him, the government's engagement with the IMF, the International Financial Corporation, Japan Development Agency, JICA, and others are progressing smoothly. We'll soon be joined by Joy News' business editor, George Rafi. But first, some economists are already concerned about how long the economy can withstand what they believe has been the delay in accessing the program. Now, let's share with you what the Finance Minister has been sharing on his Twitter handle. Now, this is from the Office of the Finance Minister, Ghana. It says, so far, we've had very positive and encouraging meetings in China. Looking forward to securing external assurances very soon, even as we pass our standing domestic revenue bills back home. Great progress on all fronts. This was on March 24th. Now, 8 hours ago, he says, very productive meeting so far at the spring meeting 2023 with the IMF, IFC, and JICA, among others. Grateful for the strong cooperation from our bilateral and multilateral partners. So that's the update there from the Finance Minister. Now let's head to Washington, D.C. now, where my colleague George Rafi is joining us from this particular meeting by the IMF and World Bank in Washington. He's been monitoring all the development there for us. George, grateful that you could join us today again. Now, what more are we learning beyond what the Finance Minister is saying or telling us on his Twitter handle?
Kojo, you're right on that one with respect to what the minister said, and it's not hidden fact that indeed these multilateral partners and the donor partners as well are showing signs each and every day. And for me, away from even what the minister is saying, having had some personal engagement with some of these donors here on the sidelines of this IMF World Bank spring meetings, you get the understanding that they want to help Ghana. They think Ghana cannot fail, and therefore whatever that they can do to ensure that the economy stabilizes, they will do what they have to do. So from the multilateral partners, the donor partners, it is clear that indeed they are willing to do what they have to do to support the recovery of Ghana's economy. But I think the biggest challenge has been with the bilaterals in terms when it comes to Ghana's debt situation, and how can this progress that fast so that Ghana can take whatever assurance is coming from these partners to the IMF board for the program to be approved. If you could remember that yesterday there was a virtual engagement between the Paris Club and some of the countries that were invited to join in this discussion. One can talk about China, India, and then Brazil. China for now decided that it will not join the Paris Club because of concerns it had when it comes to the classification of China's debt. Now, China, for instance, argues that when it comes to its debt, there are some of the debt that is owned by the Exim Bank of China, and that is a private entity. So it has to still do some working out, or if I could use that expression, to see how those debts will be handled before it can come back to the table to participate in the Paris Club. Also, India, that is not a member of the Paris Club, also agreed that they are going to join the Paris Club. So the problem now is how to work out the financing assurances and the debt situation. And that could be the major sticking point. If Ghana can indeed get all its acts put together, go to the African department, let that document, that economic program, the letter of intent, roll through all the departments, and then request for a slot for the board to consider Ghana's program, maybe in May or somewhere in June.
But George, some economists have already started warning of harsher times. Should this drag even a little longer? Do you pick the sense that this may be earlier or it could still drag?
I think that maybe we shouldn't get so much fixated about the timelines. One of the reasons the Ghana city has stabilized is that those investors who matter, they really know when Ghana is going to get its program in terms of the intelligence that they pick, in terms of progress that Ghana has been made and Ghana is making on this discussion. So I think that getting fixated about the time, it's neither here nor there. Rather, is Ghana taking those critical structural reforms or measures in terms of bringing this fiscal situation under control, in terms of revenue? What is government doing? What are the laws that government is putting in place to ensure that indeed they're able to contain or rein in spending?
Okay.
And those are the signals that is going to convince investors. And that is why we're seeing the Ghana city stabilizing. If all those things are done, even the program should come in June or July, I don't think that in terms of the negative reactions, might be, we will see that impacting on the economy. Don't forget that some are saying that it is not just about the $3 billion that is coming from the IMF that is such a big deal, because that is directly going to the Bank of Ghana to support it when it comes to its balance of payment needs. The World Bank is also coming on board to directly finance government of Ghana when it comes to budget needs. And if you look at the numbers, maybe the Swiss government coming on board, the German government coming on board, some are even projecting that we could be getting up to $11 billion for this program. So I think that it's a long road to go. Unless there are some waivers granted, indeed that approval might keep long. But look at the measures, the policy measures, the structural reforms that are taking place. And that for some people is more important than getting the program today. If the program is rushed and all these things are not put in place, we'll get back to the IMF program or requesting for a program again the next maybe 4 years or 5 years.
Okay. George, I'm grateful. George Rafe is an editor here at George Business. Let's bring in an economist, Kojo Dafo, who is a senior lecturer of applied economics at the School of Economics, University of Cape Coast. Grateful that you could join us now. Having followed all the discussion that is ongoing in Washington, D.C., listening to George Rafe, what do you pick as the signal in terms of Ghana getting closer to securing an IMF deal?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners, and thank you for having me on your program. I think we are in a very dicey situation as a country, and I'm happy we are making some progress in terms of the negotiation with the Bretton Woods institution. But then, be that as it may, we also need to ask ourselves the question. There's nothing like a free lunch. So if somebody is bringing you an amount of money to shore up your economy, you should also show evidence that you are managing your affairs very well before they have the confidence to bring you the money. So I believe the dragging of the whole negotiation is also for us to put in the needed structures to be able to convince the IMF that we are really ready to make amends for some of the fiscal slippages that we have put ourselves through over the last few years, and also convince them that we are not going to relapse like we have done in previous programs that we have gone into with them. And it's become like a cycle. We've been in and out of IMF, World Bank programs for so many years, and it's as if it's the same problems that keep on cropping up every now and then. The same reason for which IMF gives us the money is the same reason you find on even their website. So the question is, why do we always need them very well? And that is where, as a country, we need to really do a deep soul searching and ask ourselves, what are we getting wrong?
Okay. Now, some of your colleagues.
That is.
Now, some of your colleague economics have suggested that we are heading for harsher times if this should drag on. What do you think the managers of the economy can do to prevent any harsh impact of a delay in us getting this IMF deal?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are already in the harsher times as we speak. There is difficulty for us as a country at the moment because we are owing a lot of the statutory funds for several months now. We have not even been able to pay, and therefore a lot of programs and projects and activities that should even go on in the country have come to a standstill. And so that even should tell us the kind of dire straits that we find ourselves as a country. But then, we want to go into a program, we still have a fundamental issue of debt also hanging over our necks. How are we addressing that issue? And I believe it's one of the things that the IMF wants us to convince them that, hey, we have a more effective and efficient plan in place to deal with our debt overhang in order not for whatever assistance they are giving us to go down the drain. We need to prove that we have done our homework well, we have put in the needed structures, we have been able to plug all the various loopholes that keep taking us back to the same old problems.
Okay, all right. Grateful to you.
If we are convinced about the things that we are putting in place, I believe they will be able to come in and give us assistance. It's an issue of we putting in the right structures, the right policies and programs in place, so that when the assistance comes, we don't still find ourselves going back to them again for another assistance in the foreseeable future.
Okay, but I wanted to find out from you what your suggestion will be to managers of the economy in terms of what they could do to mitigate that impact of a delay in securing the IMF will have on the economy and in fact on the citizens of this country.
For me, I think one of the ways to go is to halt programs that are currently going on that depend so much on the public purse, so that we can free up some funds to take care of more critical challenges that are confronting us. For example, even though some of the road constructions going on are critical, where we find ourselves now, I believe some of them should be put on hold whilst we try to find ways of addressing the challenges we are having at the moment before we go into, because we have started so many projects simultaneously, and virtually all the projects are at a standstill because the funds are not available. And it's because we have not managed the use of the funds that were at our disposal, and we were just throwing our hands everywhere, trying to do something, but then the efficiency of it has been the problem. And I believe that we should put a halt on some of these projects for now,
okay,
to be able to free up some funds for other areas that are more critical, like health, education, so that we can shore out some of the challenges that are currently facing. Because I can tell you that if we are not able to get some funds in the country, because there are a lot of unrest in the labor front, but it's
okay,
like because of what we are
okay,
going through, they are relaxing, but then we should double up our efforts to deal with it before it's too late.
All right, I'm grateful to you. Kabran Kansada for is a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. Now, still staying with Ghana's economy, inflation has maintained its slowing spree after the rate dropped to 45 in March 2023. Now, this is the third consecutive month that inflation has slowed after reaching a more than two-decade high of 54.1% in December 2022. Now, according to the data from the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation fell by 8.3% in March this year. Also, non-food inflation fell to 40.6% in March 2023 from 47.9% in February 2023. Now, let's listen to government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina Enim, who announced this rate earlier today.
Inflation for the month of March 2023 stood at 45.0% for March 2023. This indicates a 7.8 percentage point drop relative to the rate that was recorded in the month of February 2023. In February 2023, we recorded a rate of 52.8, and in January 2023, 53.6. So we are seeing a sharper decline in the rate of inflation between February 2023 and March 2023, with a 7.8 percentage point drop between these two time periods. From a regional perspective, we identified the Western North recording the highest rate of inflation of 67.3%, and the Volta region recording the least rate of inflation of 25.6%. Disaggregating the national rate of inflation from a food and non-food perspective, we recorded food inflation 50.8% and non-food inflation 40.6%, indicating a 10.2 percentage point difference between food and non-food inflation. Food inflation saw a much sharper drop as it recorded 59.1% for the month of February 2023, indicating an 8.3 percentage point difference from a food inflation perspective and a 7.3 percentage point difference from a non-food perspective. So the slow rate of inflation that we are seeing is largely driven by the sharper drop from a food perspective relative to a non-food perspective. From a locally produced item and an imported item perspective, we saw locally produced items recording an inflation rate of 41.9% and inflation on imported items 51.6%, indicating a 9.7 percentage point difference between locally produced items and imported items.
That was the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobenedin there. Now, joining us in studio is Joy News data and research analyst, Kofi J. Kofi, let's break down this inflation for people to understand. I mean, month on month and what the real impact should be.
Well, so when we talk about inflation, right, so this is the average, change in price of goods and services. And it's for a certain collected amount of goods in a certain basket. So we are not talking about that individual product you go and buy in the market, whereby you say, because you went and then it was, let's say 1 cedi, the next time you went it was 3 cedi. So this inflation doesn't reflect the true picture of what is happening in the market. These are average prices, and it gives you, change in price of some weighted goods. Okay. So on the screen right now is what we call the month-on-month change in the price of goods and services, or inflation, or CPI. So this is the first time in a long time that we are recording a deflation in month-on-month. So it means if you compare that of February and March, this is the point where we saw prices reducing by 1.2%. This is a deflation. It's been a long time since we recorded something like that. The last time we recorded something like that was in 2020, September. But mind you that there's a direct linkage between inflation and what we call the cost of borrowing, or monetary policy rate. So the main reason why we do inflation targeting or we increase monetary policy rate is to target inflation. Mind you that, the spring meeting going on, IMF and the World Bank, they've been very, very consistent, telling, central bank governors that continue to hike, monetary policy rate, because that is the only way, or that is the most significant way you can use to check inflation rate. And if you look at Ghana, for instance, for the past 4 or 5 months, we've been hiking the policy rate. And now that inflation is coming down, people who borrow from the commercial bank, private people who go to the commercial bank to borrow, will also be expecting that the monetary policy rate will come down, so that the rate at which the central bank borrows to the commercial bank will reduce, and they can also reduce their interest
how much they lend to us.
Common people or private persons who go to them to borrow. But we are not likely to see this reflect in interest
monetary policy rate.
In the monetary policy rate, because Bank of Ghana was direct. They told us that they are going to continue the hike, because they believe that although inflation is 45%, it is not at the level where they can start consolidation, because the inflation that we saw, it moved from 13%, it even moved from a single digit to 54.1.
Sure.
So it means that if you are 41, it's a good decline, but we need to get to around, let's say, 13% or 14% before we start the consolidation or start reflecting in the monetary policy rate.
Interesting. So if I go to the markets now, I shouldn't expect anything like
well, there are goods that prices are down, and there are also goods that the prices have been increased. So if you look at the top 20 items, egg, for instance, the rate is high. Sanitary pad inflation is very high for sanitary pad, and then also palm oil, granite, and even women underwear. This has featured in the top 20 list for about 5 or 4 consecutive months, and the rate of inflation is still high and above the national average of 45%.
Interesting. Grateful to you. So that's data and research analyst in-house here, Joy News, Isaac Kofi J. Now, meanwhile, the dip in inflation may not translate into a reduction in the cost of borrowing anytime soon, as the World Bank and IMF call for continuation of monetary policy tightening by central banks.
Do have a significant inflation problem. That means central banks have to continue to keep interest rates higher to combat it, and that is on the way of restoring the prospects for robust growth. We have seen that this rapid transition from low interest rates, abundant liquidity to high interest rates and much less available liquidity has exposed vulnerabilities in the financial sector. That made the task of policymakers even harder. What we are projecting for this year is global growth would remain below 3% as we projected it earlier this year, and what is more concerning, it would remain around 3% for the next 5 years.
So that was the Managing Director of IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, speaking at the IMF World Bank Spring meetings currently ongoing in Washington, D.C. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Now, the former president, John Dramani Mahama, has launched a scathing attack on the flagship program of the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo-led government, the Free SHS. Now, under this policy, government is expected to absorb fees of what who are in senior high schools so that parents can have the freedom to allow their kids to go to school for free. But former President John Dramani Mahama says the policy has become burdensome to some parents who have to purchase other essential materials before their wards are admitted into schools. He promised to make the policy better when voted into power. He was speaking to party faithfuls in Atiwa area in the eastern region.
Abra yo hono na school obiako school e wo mu se ni afcha ase ni free SHS enso ye nuru pempen so a omo edrui enso sa amre no wo hwe school fees ani etua no mpo na wo hwe enne sika wo se ansa na wo ba timi akọ school a e do so kra chen emre ani etua school fees no eno na minu e ka kire me se afi blackboard ni assign and you so chalk biom Yembre so near to chalk Emma schools no. And then Akwadana Kasa, yes, your bar on far marker, one box, Adaka Bakumra. Adaka Bakum. Akodebian for Adaka Bakumra. Enti Okoto marker, no ato, and you might be brave, oh, shellless now. Me bika baby, and maybe intimate me sheneba. Afi oko secondary school mina metua ne fees me ni bibia me boka 5,400 cedis ansa na nkwada ne timiko school and so now say you free and so me boka 5,400 cedis ansa na abofra ne timiko school enti ye koya na say buy enti ase entrance ni enhwe ni ensiesie ade ni ye na enye better mind enti and this there say when we come we'll make free SHS better.
Now let's get back to the John Mahama campaign and connect with our Eastern Regional correspondent, Edwin Kofisian, who is on this particular trip. Edwin, grateful that you could join us. So where is John Mahama now and what are other key issues that have come up?
Okay, so John Mahama currently is in Suhum, the last place of his campaign tour in the Eastern region. You know, he started yesterday where he met with some delegates in Kropon. He went on to the Krobo areas and to back to Koporia, where he also met with some delegates to discuss with them about his intentions to contest the NDC flag bearership contest. So we are in Suhum, where he's been touting his achievements as the former president of the Republic of Ghana. He's intimating that he's the best choice to lead the NDC into the 2024 elections.
How have the delegate been receiving his message? Do you sense any endorsement?
Anytime any of the party people spoke, the executive spoke, they overwhelmingly endorsed the former president's candidature. In some places, they gave him about 99.999%. Some also gave him 100% and the rest. So it's a clear indication that in the Eastern region, the former president has received massive endorsement in his quest to lead the NDC.
Grateful to you. Now, still on this campaign tour by former President Mahama, he's been clarifying his do or die comment, saying that other people have twisted what he really meant.
About 2024, about to yen niagro. Anything I'm saying, do or die.
We won't joke in the 2024 elections, and that's why I have described it as do or die. But some people have twisted it that we intend to use PS and cutlasses to beat people during elections. No, far from that. Do or die means it is something very important that we have to win, but it doesn't mean we will use cutlass and spears to hurt people.
I just said in second in Contiba Beko Brobrum Crofo. And so me ojidi say ye na ehun yeko. Enti make us be brave.
Still in politics, the NPP is envisaging a resounding victory in the by-election, which is going to come off at Kumawu constituency of the Ashanti region. Now, Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Enchibo says the party intends to use the elections as a means to deepen its dominance in the region. Already, the opposition NDC has a candidate who's kicked off his campaigning ahead of the scheduled date for the by-election. Nanaya Ajuma has visited the constituency as the NPP starts searching for a candidate.
The NPP MP for Kumawu constituency, Philip Baswa, died last month, leaving the seat vacant. On Monday, the party opened nominations for members who have shown interest to contest the seat on the party's ticket. Already, 5 people, including Edward Osei, who came second in the last primaries, have picked forms to contest the seat. Justice Odro speaks for him.
In our party, we reward loyalty and hard work. Just lawyer came in last primaries. He didn't go. He stayed here, work with the party executive delegates. So he's a grassroots man. That's why I'm saying he will win massively.
Others include Philip Bano, Ernest Yao Enim, Dacosta Abuaje, and Amasewa, the only female to have filed so far. NPP chairman in Ashanti, Bernard Enchibo, says the party is encouraging the youth and women to contest the election.
So once you are bringing the nomination, you will bring it if you are above 40 and above, you have to add another 35,000 Ghana cedi. And the youth, woman, and disabled will pay 17,500. This is what so far.
Chairman Wuntumi says the party is committed to ensuring continuity in the development of the constituency under a new leader as Member of Parliament. He is convinced of victory.
Badaroma, ayade kwa biaso. Ye be win ewo eye by election. Onyankopon ka ye ho.
We will win the by-election. We are saddened by the demise of our MP, Philip Baswa, before the end of his tenure. Whoever is elected as flag bearer by the delegates will be accepted and supported to win the seat again. The win will be massive. Whoever is elected will be overwhelmingly endorsed by the people.
Now, you win massive votes at the Ama no Anna MPP. Na yedi ashagana enwan munya no so watime nya kwanya akọ abankasie mu na watime akwakoye adwuma de ama okumawu.
The picking of nominations for NPP aspirants continues till Friday. The National Democratic Congress has already put forth Kwesi Amankwa as its candidate for the by-election. He is already on campaign.
Right, we were prepared a year ago. Because we have taken that seat very seriously. We need to take that seat back for NDC. So we've been prepared a year ago, and now we are ready for the battle. Even if we have to go to vote tomorrow, we are ready. And we are 100% sure that we are going to win the seat for NDC.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Now, a leading pharmaceutical company, Blaze GVS Pharma Ghana, has donated anti-malaria and other essential medicines ahead of World Malaria Day 2023. The donation forms part of the company's Act for Africa campaign, which is to make Africa a malaria-free continent. Beneficiary hospitals included Upper West Regional Hospital, Tamale Teaching Hospital, and Ho Teaching Hospital. There is more in the following report.
Blaze GVS is a global pharmaceutical company dedicated to the provision of quality and affordable pharmaceutical products to help cater for the needs of many.
I'm pharmacist Dr. Salifu Al-Hassan Tia, and I'm standing on behalf of the management of Tamale Teaching Hospital, the board and staff of the hospital.
On behalf of the Upper West Regional Hospital and by extension Upper West Region, we want to thank Blaze GVS Pharma for this kind gesture.
Annually, we embark on a campaign to fight malaria across our country and the continent at large. And this year, we are at Ho Trafalgar Teaching Hospital.
On behalf of the president of PSGH, the SEC, and the governing board, we want to say a big thank you that you have considered this initiative to cover a lot of hospitals in the region and even to the northern part of the country. And as a society, we'll continue to partner with you and ensure that your activities within this country is smooth.
All right, my name is Wisdom Delalia Jaku, pharmacist, Ho Teaching Hospital. I want to say on behalf of the board, the management and staff of Ho Teaching Hospital, we are privileged to be part of this donation from Blaze GVS as part of their ACT campaign to ensure availability of anti-malarials in our hospitals.
I want to express our sincere gratitude to Blaze GVS for this opportunity to partner them to do donations to the various institutions. And we are also grateful that you are living by our motto, because the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, the motto is Amicus Humanis Generis, which is friends of the human race. And if you have a company like Blaze GVS coming on board to do donation to humanity, then it means that you are actually living by our motto.
I pray that the good Lord will continue to bless the company so that they can be able to reach out to so many other hospitals in subsequent years. I would like to also assure Blaze GVS that their products, which are already available in all community pharmacies and all hospitals in Volta and Oti, we will continue to patronize those products so that at the end of it all, the well-being of the patient will be our hallmark.
Now, Ghana's Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Seiduchum, is urging Dr. Nathaniel Ni Kojo, a recent graduate from the University of Cape Coast School of Medical Sciences, who won 16 of 22 honors at UCC's 55th congregation, to continue setting a positive example for other students. He was speaking at a briefing with the media.
The newly minted medical doctor just graduated from UCC. I'm sure the nation saw the awards that he picked up at his graduation ceremony, and we're all amazed as to how he was able to do that. So I felt that I should take some time off my schedule to congratulate him personally and to let him know that we truly appreciate the hard work that has won him those laurels. And it's our hope that other students that watched him will be able to know that it's possible to excel in your academic work when you focus and dedicate yourself.
In a response, Dr. Nathaniel Ni Kojo also emphasized the importance of academic discipline in order to excel in any area of academic discourse.
So universities that are training medical students is something that's there. The challenges are mostly have to do with the content of the material. We mostly have a lot of things to study. Mostly it's not that the thing is so difficult to grasp, but the content of the medical education is so much. So personally, I believe that academic discipline is very, very, very important so that you'll be able to manage your time properly in order to make sure that you are well prepared for each exam that you sit for. You also need to have a lot of perseverance because the journey is not always a smooth one. There are ups and downs. So you need to know how to manage your down moments, make sure you learn from them, and make sure you are not committing the same mistake twice.
Now let's take you to the USA, where a Ghanaian student, Victor Kojo, has emerged as the best graduating student from the Ohio University with a CGPA of 4.0. Now he's joining us on Zoom now. Kojo, grateful that you could share some time with us. Now, how challenging was your study, and was this achievement something you saw coming?
Thank you very much, Kojo Brace, for reaching out to me. And a warm good evening to all the viewers out there in Ghana. Studies is not easy here in the US, even though that's what some people think. And to say if I saw this coming, I would say no, I didn't. The only thing I said to myself when I got here was to make sure that my best do not fail me, by saying that all that I wanted to do was to just be within the system. I shouldn't fail. So I was just working to be within the system, just to go through. And I wasn't really looking up to being the topmost or to be recognized in this regard. So it just happened that it happened as it is. And I am surprised and at the outpour of love that has been shown to me, and I think it's deserving too, because I put in a lot of work to get to this.
Okay, all right. So what does this mean? A scholarship to pursue PhD or what? Okay, so I will be graduating the official ceremony will be in May, but I'm already on a scholarship in a different university, so I'll be leaving the Ohio University and I'll be joining the University of Kentucky in the fall. That's in August. That's also actually a fully funded program for my PhD. All right then. Any advice from your experience you have for Ghanaian students who are watching us now?
Well, of course, one of the reasons why I'm even excited about this is not just because of what I have achieved, but the inspiration that is sent out to people in Ghana and other parts of the world who are planning on pursuing academic excellence in countries other than those in Africa, that you can make it, just put in a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, but it is worthy of all the effort you put in. And when you get to the US, it's not as easy as people think. As I said, you begin to feel a sense of loneliness. There's a different form of cultural shock, but you need to stay resilient. You need to stay focused and just keep your eyes on the goal and just work towards it, and you can succeed.
All right, Victor Kojo, grateful and congrats to you. So that's a Ghanaian who has graduated as the overall best student from the Ohio University with a CGPA of 4.0. Now, to other stories now. Despite his battle with leprosy, a chronic and infectious disease, he nurtured a passion for singing and performance. Now, that's the story of Opia Mingsa, a resident of the Weja Leprosarium, who still dreams of becoming a renowned musician. My colleague Michael Ashale has more in this report.
Opia Mensah, a singing sensation living with leprosy. Born in 1942, he has more than 100 songs to his collection.
God gave me talent small, so I'm a small boy and singing. That time no sick. I don't remember, but I started for 1973. I start music.
He produces unique music in which he occasionally whistles. His songs are inspired by his life stories and events close to him.
Mary Pop. My mother they bought me in 1942. You know, the God gave me talent. So when I see something, I make sounds. Yeah, when I see something, somebody do me bad, I come on, make sounds.
Before he developed fatal injuries from the leprosy, he was active and performed from his collection of songs to happy crowds at various bus terminals across the country.
1950 something, I started there. Yeah, I'm all right. I go to my home. Or I go my home, they say come back again. So I go to Ankafo. Ankafo teach me, I won't correct before you leave me. Me music I like, so I go around to play sounds. I go Kumasi, I go Takwari, I go Tema, I go everywhere, Cape Coast, everywhere I go and play sounds.
Opian Mensah was forced to live at the Wager Leprosarium after his condition took a turn for the worse.
Me are there for Tema Station. Tema Station I did there 1992. I stayed for Tema Station, Makwala. But I wanna go play sounds, people dash me. So when I sleep in the night, somebody come and took my everything. That's why I come back, Father, and give me room here.
The disease has claimed some of his fingers. With his remaining fingers, he holds his drum and stick.
If you know me, I know you. You know me, I know you. If you don't know me too, I don't know you. Sure.
His life dream is to get his songs recorded before he passes on.
I need help, Papa, to help me. I need help to record my sounds. When you record my sounds come out. Tomorrow I die, I like. Because what I do, tomorrow I know die. Long time before I die.
Opian Mensah's music is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and his story serves as an inspiration to all who hear it. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
I am listening my sounds. I am listening my sounds. I am listening your sounds. I am listening your sounds. Opian Mensah, itie wonyom. Opian Mensah, itie wonyom. Opian Mensah, itie wonyom. What obro nyama na mani aje say. I am listening your sounds.
Vet Investment Limited.
Well, I am listening to your sound and you are listening to mine, and I'm willing to present to you Becky so that you listen to Becky's sweet melody.
I think that the sound, that sound needs to be listened.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
the
report by Michael Ashale. Do you want to produce him? Because he's calling for help.
Well, you and I, if we team up, we can do the production.
I'll just give it to David. David Babel. He's a fantastic guy. He has the sense for good music and can.
Once it is failed, he'll do a better job.
Yeah, he will.
We can support that.
We can support by telling everybody else to listen, but But let's go into the stories. Let's talk about Elikem Kumoji, popularly known as Elikem the Tailor. He's been talking about going global with his craft. He's been doing this for almost 10 years, and he is poised to going global with his Elikem the Tailor fabrics and everything design in between.
No, I found the craft out of adversity. They say when a man is in adversity, he finds himself. And I was in the University of Ghana, Legon. I couldn't pay tuition into level 400, so I deferred my course. And when I came home, I just love to look good. I like to look different from people. I want to wear different things. And so I started making clothes for myself. Other people saw and liked. And I was like, if people like the clothes, there's actually a business that can come out of it. So I started putting chobo small on the clothes I made. And today, here I am.
and I don't know if you're proud of yourself, but I'm sure that when people who have followed you over the years, I remember over the years, when I say over the years, it's been like 10 years, and today we're proud of you. Are you proud of yourself and what you've achieved over the years?
I have come a long way. I feel like I could have been, better. We all procrastinate at a point in our lives, every now and then, but we pick ourselves up quickly. However, I'm grateful for my milestone. I have been in business for a little over 10 years, and I can still see, my dreams are big. They say dreams so big you can't have an ego, and so my ego is in check, and I am only 1% of where I want to be. I want to be global. I want to go worldwide. I want every country to have a piece of my clothing. Stuff like a Zara, like the Zara of Africa. That's the dream, and that's where we're headed.
The tailor there. Let's move away from Elikem. Let's talk about friendship. It's a huge topic when you want to go into it, but obviously we can't have that topic here, but we can only, talk around it. So Basket Mav has been speaking about his friendship with Buchi. He's also a comedian in Nigeria. The Basket Mav has been trending for sort of back and forth relationship with AY. Basket Mav says he's not friends with AY. He's not enemies too with AY. But I mean, it's been back and forth if you've been following. But here's Basket Mav talking about his friendship with comedian Buchi. I was just talking to Buchi about the relationship that you have and how you've been able to kept it together for these years. What worked for you and him? It's admirable.
It's just friendship, man. If you have a pure heart, and you can rock with me if you're a real one. So for me, he's a good guy, and his energy is awesome. I can connect with his, level of thinking, the creativity and all is funny. So it's easy, and it makes it, fluid.
Would you describe yourself as a workaholic?
Yes,
because you don't stop.
I don't stop. I'm addicted to being busy. I'm addicted to hard work. It keeps me going. So that's my own. When people go clubbing, I go walking. It's my own fun. It's my fun place. Yeah.
Would you describe yourself as a workaholic, or you're just, that?
I've been a workaholic all my life. I think I just love to work.
You got a lot of money?
Not really. Maybe not now. It will come with
eventually.
Time. Yeah. I believe in times and seasons. Mine will come.
And the time will come when we will also get the opportunity to join Sarkodie on all his tours. He has this Jams tour coming up, and he's been speaking about it.
Dates, we're doing world tour, but the first leg is the Europe tour. That's the dates that I gave out. London, I know Germany's in there, France, Belgium, Denmark, few places. Then yes, we'll be announcing the US dates soon as well. So yeah, if you are following Sarkodie, I'll keep you posted.
Sarkodie, the landlord, right there, speaking to us about all you need to know about his jam store. For those of you who are in the US, you should understand that dates will be coming soon. Business is up next, right?
Yeah, sure.
And you know the business lady.
Yeah, I nearly forgot. Now, today...
Are you telling me, or I want to tell you?
Okay, tell me.
Okay. Oh, you can go ahead.
No, tell me.
Her husband is celebrating his birthday.
Joel. Very fantastic young man. Yeah.
So we have the song for Joel.
Oh, we have a song for Joel?
Yeah. Director,
really?
Have a song.
Oh, I didn't know we have a song for Joel. Okay. Happy birthday to Joel, wherever you are. On behalf of your wife, Beverly Broom,
and then
and all of us here at Joy News, we say, may God richly bless you and do enjoy your birthday. Happy birthday. Joel. So yeah, what song is it?
The song that we just listened to.
Oh, the Opia Mince's song.
Yeah, we're taking him global. we're taking him global. So before we dedicate the song to Joel, for more news, please log on to myjoeline.com. That's where you find all the news. We're grateful for your time here on Prime, Joy News Prime, and watching entertainment. I love you. Forget about Breeze. I love you. Yeah.
You know I do love you as well. So let's wrap it all up with our song to Joel there. But thanks so much for your time. Yeah.
My sounds. I am listening. My sounds. I am listening. You are sounds.
Oh.
I am listening. You are sounds. Upia mesa. Itie wonyom. Upia mesa. Itie wonyom. Upia mesa. Itie wonyom. I am listening. You are sounds.
I am listening to your